the Richmond Times-Dispatch from the year 1988. Lavers lets the good times roll. Intensity and concentration are the buzzwords most often heard from professional bowlers who want you to know they take their game seriously. And then there's Swede Lavers, a large, gregarious man in his 50s who has shown you don't have to be grim to be successful on the lanes. A veteran of 32 years in duck pens and a house proprietor in Stratford, Connecticut, Lavers was Bowler of the Year in 1987 on the Duck Pen Pro Tour and carried the number 2 average, 156.641. How does Lavers handle the pressure of tournament competition? He acknowledged he has too much fun to feel nervous. That really hits the nail on the head, Lavers said. I have such a good time in duck pen bowling that I don't feel nervous. Lavers has been drawn to Richmond by the $10,000 first prize in the 3rd Virginia All-Star Classic this weekend at Plaza Bowl. A field of 122, including 15 of the 20 in the national rankings, is competing for the largest winner's payoff in duck pens. But for Lavers, there's another consideration. To me, the pride and the ego involved in winning are more important, especially at my age, Lavers said. I'd really rather have that plaque that says I won than the money itself. Lavers said Pro Duck Pens has received greater exposure in the past year because of cable television and prize money has improved, but he doesn't want tournament purses to create full-time pros. This tournament probably has the biggest first prize we could ever expect, Lavers said. A lot of the bowlers wouldn't want to hear me say this, but I wouldn't want to see the prize money on the tour so high we could make a living at it. Lavers said there's a friendliness among duck pen pros you don't find among 10-pen pros who depend on tournament checks. I've played baseball, football, and basketball, but duck pens has been the only sport where the relationships and friendships I've made have lasted over the years, he said. Lavers also enjoys the challenge of a sport in which no perfect game has been rolled since its inception in 1903. Nobody conquers this game, he said, and I hope there never will be a perfect game. That means there always will be something to shoot for. Lavers said his greatest accomplishment in duck pens was his 1983 World Cup victory over one of his best friends, Richmonder Buddy Kramer, in Toronto. The match came down to the final frame, and Kramer needed a mark. He left the 3-6-10, Lavers said, and he threw an absolutely perfect spare shot, and that 10-pin didn't budge. I really didn't win it. Buddy was robbed. To Lavers, the match was typical of the excitement he's experienced in duck pens. The 10-pen pros have to be great, but the excitement doesn't compare with duck pens, where you have every kind of spare shot or split imaginable. Notes: the field came up short of the 145 in last year's All-Star Classic, and the prize fund will be $24,720, with second place worth $5,000 and third $3,000, according to Plaza manager Bookie Jenkins. He said there were 3 factors in the drop. The Pro Tour raised their entry fees, and that drove off some average bowlers. July was a bad month because of vacations, and I waited so late in May to get started with the promotion. Lavers said the tournament would be better suited to the Winter League season, but praised Jenkins for his organization of the event. Jenkins was expecting the qualifying cutoff to be about 1,200 for an 8-game block. Lavers rolled 12:33. Match play begins at 11 a.m. today with semifinals and the final to follow.